Welcome back to part 2 of What If Anakin Never Lost His Arm. Thank you to all of you who watched the first part of this video. To recap what happened in that episode in the event you haven't seen it, Anakin retaining his arm had led to Dooku being captured on Geonosis. But escaping from his trial with the help of his master, the Jedi had been investigating the conspirator, whilst Anakin and Obi-Wan had chased Dooku to his home planet. Being ambushed by Grievous and Ventress, Dooku is forced to enter the battle himself. When the Sith apprentice planted his feet on the floor, he kicked away the scrap pieces of the battle droids and threw several of them at the Jedi. Obi-Wan pushed these away from harm, but with the 3 lightsaber wielders charging towards them, this was their time to leave, and the Jedi Master ordered for his Padawan and clone battalion to retreat. Dooku stepped in front of Grievous and Ventress, then stretched out his hand to summon Force Lightning from his fingertips, obliterating several clone troopers and their biker advanced recon commando speeders. Nevertheless, the Jedi managed to run back into their starfighters and return to Coruscant to reveal to the Council of what Dooku had told them. Mace Windu leads the charge back to the Republic military base, but as they expected, they had been too late, as the imprisoned Senate guard lay dead on the floor with a series of blaster bolts through him. The surveillance cameras had been disabled before the death of the guard, but there was a piece of evidence picked up by an audio sensor attached to one of the patrolling protocol droids. With the help of the weapons experts at the Jedi Temple, the Council are able to deduce that the high-pitched blaster shots are from an NL-30 blaster pistol commonly wielded by bounty hunters. Anakin and Obi-Wan are on the chase, and after ordering Admiral Yularen to lock down all of the hyperdrive docking rings, they make their own journey into the dangerous underworld. Passing the shady streets that were usually off limits for the Jedi, R2-D2 scanned for comm chatter, and soon the astromech began to pick up voices, conversing about the death of the unfortunate Senate guard. Hiding behind several crates, Obi-Wan spots the blaster pistol on the belt of the Duros bounty hunter Cad Bane. Obi-Wan stopped Anakin from making a dramatic attack on Bane, as they'd still yet to determine if he had been the assigned killer. So instead, they wait for Bane to enter a bar before trapping his techno service droid outside. Pulling it towards their hiding spot with the Force, they quickly removed its memory chip and replaced it with one of their own before returning to the surface. Upon examination of the droid's memory, the Council discovered the hooded figure of Darth Sidious, the same name that had been used by Dooku to label the person in charge of the war on Geonosis. It was at this point that there was only one person they could accuse, and it was Chancellor Palpatine. Anakin is outraged at these accusations towards his close mentor, but his master assured him that these were merely suspicions, and they set about finding evidence against him. It seemed Palpatine had covered his tracks well if he was indeed the Sith Lord, and bringing a number of trusted senators to their council tower, they discussed the idea of electing a new Supreme Chancellor. Much to the surprise of Anakin, even Padme, who would replace Palpatine as the Senate of Naboo, had been growing further apart from the Chancellor, and they wanted to deal with the growing corruption in the Galactic Republic. Anakin was simmering with rage, but deciding to ignore the standing Jedi Knight, Mace Windu asked Senator Amidala to reignite her acquaintance with Senator Rush Clovis to try and find any suspicious financial activities. Anakin had had enough, and letting out a roar that vibrated the windows, he clenched his fist, and all of the council members are knocked out of their chairs. Obi-Wan was the first to get up, and escorted Anakin out of the room before matters escalated, then guided him to his Padawan's quarters. Obi-Wan knew of Anakin's involvement with Senator Amidala, but had chosen to ignore it after the event on Geonosis, and expressed his immense disappointment. Anakin looked at the floor in shame, but turning to his master, he sees him looking unusually conflicted before he ran out of his quarters. The Jedi Knight was terrified that his master was about to tell the Council of his code-defying activities, but he was actually jumping into his starfighter, and Anakin followed him. Ordering for his admiral to reactivate the hyperdrive rings, Anakin threw a tracking beacon on his master's ship and traced the signal all the way to the planet of Mandalore. The curiosity within the Jedi Knight increased, as he knew his master had been involved in the war effort, but when he landed by the royal palace, all became clear. Obi-Wan bowed to Duchess Satine, and Anakin realised that his master had not been disappointed in him, but had the Jedi code for his restrictions. As if by fate, the hologram of Grandmaster Yoda appeared on the wrist of Anakin, asking him to return to Coruscant immediately, as Padme found evidence that Palpatine was using the Republic funds to support both sides in the war. Leaving the relative comfort of Mandalore, Anakin and Obi-Wan flew back to the Jedi Council, sensing that they had just made a grave mistake. That is it for part 2 of What If Anakin Never Lost His Arm. If you'd like to see a part 3 soon, please like this video, turn on that notification bell, click that subscribe button on this channel, as well as on my other channel What If Films. And as always, leave a comment on what if you'd all like to see next, and how I can improve my videos. Thank you all very much for watching, and see you next time.